On today's episode, we're going through the 8 whiskeys you need for the fall time. I am super excited about this one. I got a name up. Let's get into this.
Play the intro.
I got my name up. Lord, let's serve you some whiskey. Welcome back. Now folks. We got a good episode today. Really, yeah. We're getting there. Shout out to everyone who has subscribed so far to this day. The subscriber count is growing daily. I'm loving the engagement with everybody in the comments. Let's keep this show going. So if you haven't by now, go ahead. Hit that good old subscribe button. Alright, so for today's episode, it is the first day of fall. You know, the leaves are changing. It is definitely pumpkin spice flavor season at all the coffee shops. I like pumpkin spice lattes. Don't judge me. That's what I get. That's what I like. So yeah. But anyway, so we did do a summer list. It was the 8 whiskeys you need for the summer. I'll go ahead and put that up there. And then I was like, you know what? Let's keep this going. What are the 8 whiskeys you need for fall? Now, with that said in mind, just like how I did the summer list, I tried to put together a list that isn't super jam-packed of a bunch of allocated bottles. It's just not gonna be fair. You probably won't be able to find them. But I'm thinking about, like, maybe with a little work, you could find it. And this lineup is a different variation from what you kind of have already. So that was my thinking that went into this list. Once again, like I always say, it's in my opinion. Views are subjective, and your opinion is from your perspective. So anyway, so let's get into this. First bottle we're gonna get into. Now, I've actually covered this bottle before. I believe this may have been the 3rd bottle I covered on this channel. Oh man, it seemed like such a long time ago, but it wasn't that long. But if you want to see that video, it's up there. So the first bottle we're getting into is the Michter Sour Mash. Now folks, you already know how I feel about the Michter's Sour Mash. Now, you're probably thinking, why would I pick this one? This one in particular is 86 proof. This would be something I say, like, if you're starting the day off or maybe doing yard work or whatever, 86 proof isn't a bad drink. Honestly, if you want to, you can mix this on ice. Have it by itself, mix it with a little ginger beer, or just have it neat. But I feel like this is a really versatile bottle for 86 proof, and with this being a Michter Sour Mash, it does pack a really nice flavor profile that I personally like. So this is one particular I recommend for one of your bottles for the fall. Now I'm thinking, what is a decent bottle? And it's kind of different maybe from what we have. It is the Knob Creek Bourbon Rye, which is pretty much Knob Creek's Rye. So this is a blend of their 9 and 7 year bourbon. And folks, I'll tell you right now, you can go ahead and look at it. This is really good. Have a review coming soon with this. We all know I personally love Knob Creek. Something like this, honestly, this could be great for an old fashioned. I haven't tried this yet in old fashioned, but for this particular price that I found it at, I wouldn't be mad trying this out in an old fashioned or any other cocktail they make calls for it. Straight enough, as is, it's pretty good. On the rocks, I haven't tried it, but overall, I personally like this. I think this is something that you should have in your lineup for the fall. This is a perfect, maybe nice sipper if you're outside, got a little bonfire going on, or you're grilling. Knob Creek Rye or Bourbon Rye. So yeah, so moving right along. And the next on our list now. So this bottle, I'm just gonna put this up there. You don't necessarily have to get this bottle. This was a store pick, but I was thinking of what is something different that we can do that we haven't done already. Now, we did the Sour Mash and we did the Rye blend. So it's only right for the next one we do a finishing rye. Now folks, small disclaimer, this is rare character. This is a rye whiskey finish in Amburana Cask. Wow. Now, I know there's a lot of controversy. A lot of people do not like Amburana. Amburana is basically a Brazilian oak wood, And the huge flavor characteristics of that black people are turned off is there's a huge cinnamon note, almost like a cinnamon toast crunch. So the reason why I say Amburana, it's fall time. So I'm thinking of like fun cocktails that you can make for your house guests or any parties that you are entertaining. Yeah, this is, I would say it's a versatile bottle. Yes, you can drink it straight. You can have it on the rocks. I haven't had this in the old fashioned yet or Manhattan, but in any other kind of like fall festive cocktails, I think the Amburana will hold up really well. Now, I would say this much. The rye and the Amburana have an interesting combination together that I personally maybe prefer a little bit more than like the bourbon Amburana. So that's my 2 cents. So I would recommend any rye whiskey you see out there finished in Amburana cask. And if you can't find it, then you cannot go wrong with the RD1 Amburanas. I already know they're out in circulations a lot. Find one of those, thank me later. Moving right along. Now folks, you already know I always gotta include some type of scotch in the lineup, and when I do, it's usually an Islay scotch. Why? Because Lord loves his peated scotches. I swear. Anywho, the next one we have for the 8 whiskeys you need for the fall is the Ardbeg Uigeadil. Now folks, as you can see, this bottle is pretty much finito. This bottle is almost finished. This bottle is almost, but this one in particular, I love. This is an Ardbeg finished and ex-sherry cask. Now, the color alone, when I pour this, is like night and day from a traditional Ardbeg. It is 54.2 ABV. Once again, in the Scotch world, they use ABV for the measurings instead of just putting the proof, which is basically double. So do the math and boom, that's the proof of this. This is really good, folks. This is good as is. I personally love the really nice sushi, so usually I have this on, like, you know, a nice rock glass, and I vibe out with this. As you can see, it's done. If you don't necessarily like peated scotches, now we talked about it before, but basically peat is almost like a dirt, like kind of like a dirt clog that they use, and they light that on fire, and usually the smokiness from that, I have to do a whole episode about peat, but basically the way they have it in the warehouse, the peat's on the bottom level, and the barley, right when it starts to like ferment and sprout, they smoke the peat, and it basically penetrates the barley, and they let that go on in like this basically big industrial smoker. And then once that's done, they usually will go with the typical process to like, you know, make the mash bill and things like that. So that's how it gets like that campfire, that medicinal, that band-aid, that smoky, you know, flavor. A lot of people don't like. A lot of people like, I don't like scotch because I had scotch before and it tastes like I was drinking ashes and water. I had a peated scotch. But for this sake, Lord loves his peated scotch. And the Ardbeg Uigeadil is one of those that for sure I would keep around in the fall. So yeah, Ardbeg Uigeadil, get you some Islay. So yeah, for the next one. So for the next one is none other than the Pursuit United Double Oak Bourbon. Oh, almost dropped that one. That would have been bad, folks. Anywho, so Pursuit United Double Oak Bourbon. So I would say this much. As I mentioned before, I did an episode on this. They're actually my favorite podcasters in the bourbon world. So the Double Oak Pursuit United Bourbon is one I personally thoroughly enjoy, and I feel that you need for the fall. Now, if you can't find that particular one you can find, I messed up. I don't have it for this video. It's like buried somewhere. Don't feel like getting it. It's the Woodford's Double Oak. Now, the Woodford's Double Oak, you can find it at any store. You can find it at a big box store. You can find it at a mom and pop shop. I picked this one because it's interesting and it's a new release. But a default one that I personally like is the Peerless Double Oak. Now, the Peerless Double Oak, folks, if you could find it, is amazing. It is basically like you're drinking leather. That might not be a note for you, but another huge note I would say is tobacco. There is a huge tobacco note that I personally like that's in there, almost like a cigar tobacco, which is pretty good. So it is, in my opinion, complex enough to put in the old fashioned. The proof is high enough that when you add your rocks to it and you're shaking and adding your mixers and whatever else to it, it doesn't necessarily dilute it and that flavor is still there. However, if you can't find the Peerless Double Oak, which is, it's kind of pricey, the Woodford Double Oak, you can't go wrong with it. It is basically like almost dessert in the glass. So for this instance, ignore the Pursuit Double Oak. So just think about any Double Oak bourbon in general. So by default, if you have it, I would say start with the Woodford's Double Oak. It's a great place to add to your lineup for the 8 bottles of whiskey you need for the fall. So moving along, moving right along, moving right along, moving right along. So the next we got, now this one, you know, I don't know. Once again, I said these are my views. They're all subjective. Now I know there has been a rye that was released this year that was a barrel proof expression that everybody went absolutely crazy for. It's been sweeping the talks, it's been sweeping the blogs, and I know I personally have a few of these bottles. I like it, but for the fall time, I don't necessarily want to blow out my palate, but I'm thinking of something that is a easy sipper. So I did pick a barrel proofish or batch proof expression rye for this instance, but I have to go with the OG, none other than the Wild Turkey Rare Brie. Now folks, if you don't have this in your collection by now and you are into whiskey or bourbons or ryes, this is one you need. This is one that I'm telling you, trust me, you need. This is really good. This is probably, I've replaced this thing probably like 5 times already. I thoroughly enjoy Wild Turkey Rare Brie Rye. This one in particular is 112.2 proof, and this is non-chilled filter. Now folks, whew, this is really good. Now I can already hear the comments. What about the Jack Daniels rye? Talking about this one right here? Oh, this is amazing. It's no question in this one. This one right here is 136 proof. But we're talking about the fall time. I'm talking about, I'm chilling out outside, I'm watching the leaves fall, you know, enjoying a nice little stogie. I'm still barbecuing while the weather's decent. I don't want to blow me palate out. But we here right now with the 112 proof Wild Turkey Rare Brie. I'm not drinking this, but that nose alone is that crazy Wild Turkey nose. Oh man, it basically smells like a dusty already. There is a little nuttiness in it, and all the bacon spices, of course, and mint and the citrus note. This is amazing, folks. In a cocktail, an old-fashioned, straight up, or on the rocks. Wild Turkey Rare Brie. So yeah, so what we got so far, folks? Let's make sure we get this one right. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh man, we are almost there. The halfway point. Now, so far, let me know in the comments if you're with me. Let me know, have you tried some of these so far, and if you feel some of these need to be removed off my list. I don't know. Let me know. So going back to the notes. All right, so we did. Let's go to the list. So we did the Michters, and we did the Knob Creek Bourbon Rye. Okay, and we did the whiskey, the rye finish, the Amburana. We got that one. Okay, we got our little Isla Scotch finished in extra cask. Got that. Boom. We got our Double Oak Bourbon. Boom. And we got our proofed rye that's barrel proof. Now, oh Lord, what about the bourbons? Like, what about just something that's a straight bourbon? Because you did sour mash, and then everything else has been like a hybrid or double casted or this and that. I got you. Say less. So we got none other than the Green River Full Proof. Now folks. Ooh. This one in particular, they do vary, is coming in at 118.1 proof. This is from the Green River, you know, company, and you know, Bardstown. Go do your research. So one thing I would say about this particular one that it was interesting to me, so this one had like a huge biscuit honey note to me, and also there was like this almost birthday cake / caramel cake vibe that was in this. I love caramel cakes. Let me know in the comments if you love caramel cakes. But that was interesting to me. So I know Green River, they do single barrel expressions, so those will vary also to improve. And for the full proofs, I'm unsure if it's the same proof across the board or they're varying from batch to batch, because this one in particular didn't have a batch number, it just had the proof. But I'm assuming that the full proofs will all range in different varies. Now, I do like Green River. I would say this much. Green River, like what they're doing, especially at Bardstown, their pricing is like exceptionally crazy. I mean, like, it's readily affordable and they actually produce a crazy amount of it. Even like, I think like the regular expression, if you want to get it, I want to line says like, I think like the bourbon is like 34 or 39. This one, I forgot the price of this, but readily available, the Wheater is the one that's at. So Green River, I personally like this one. So now we're closing in. I know I've been yapping this whole time. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. And you're probably wondering now, like, Lord, what is your 8th pick? What is the 8th pick of whiskey that you recommend that we search for? Well, folks, I'll tell you right now, it's a good thing you asked. Now, this one is in another video that I'm working on, but I had to do a pre-release here. Spoiler alert, folks, it's hella good. It's none other than the Bardstown Original Series Wheated Bourbon Whiskey. Now, I'm going to go ahead. I'm not going to talk too much about this. I'm saving this for a review. I will go ahead and say this is the Antique 107 killer. In my opinion, this is coming in at 106 proof. Like this bottle here, price point wise, value, and taste, personally, this will run laps around the Maker's Mark, regular offering, cask strength, and the Antique 107 by Weller. So overall, this bottle was good. It's an almond croissant note that pops out to me the most. There's a faint banana Laffy Taffy, butterscotch, everything in rainbow, maple syrup, Chico stick, everything I love. This is the wheated bourbon you need for the fall, and it is in the release. So if you haven't by now and you are in your whiskey journey and you look for something new to buy, hands down, the Bardstown Original Series, the wheated bourbon, highly recommend that one. Oh yeah, that's the one right there. So yeah, so this concludes my 8 whiskeys you need for the fall time. Now, as I always said, these are my opinions, so these 8 may not be for you, but what I did for this video, if you're standing in the store or online and you're thinking about some new whiskeys to get besides the ones you always get, then I gave you a few options as always to select from. That's what I did. So let me know in the comments if you vibe out with this list, if there's anything you would personally take off or anything you would replace. I'm always curious, I'm always looking, so please put me on to something different. Please, let's do it. So if you like this one, go ahead, give me a good old like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah! And like we always say at this time, folks, cheers, salute, sante, Kobe, and all that jazz.